The show started like any other. Bright lights flooded the arena. Music pulsed through the speakers. Families filled every seat, their voices blending into a warm hum of anticipation. It was supposed to be another perfect performance, one more magical evening that people would remember with smiles. But within minutes, something would happen that no one in that audience could ever forget. Something that would turn a routine show into a moment frozen in history. Jessica Radcliffe had always belonged to the ocean. As a child, while others played games or watched cartoons, she preferred the quiet rhythm of the shore. She would sit for hours near the water, shaping dolphins out of wet sand, tracing their curves with careful hands, as if she already understood them. The sea wasn't just a place to her, it felt like home. Her parents noticed early on that she was different. There was a kind of calmness in her when she was near water, and a spark in her eyes whenever she talked about marine life. Everything changed the day she saw a dolphin up close for the first time. It wasn't just excitement, it was something deeper. The way she stared, completely still, as if recognizing something she had been searching for without knowing it. From that moment, her path became clear. She didn't just want to admire dolphins. She wanted to understand them. Years passed, and Jessica grew into that dream. She studied hard, balancing school with specialized training in marine behavior. While others chased ordinary careers, she focused on one goal: to work alongside dolphins, to communicate with them, to build a bond that went beyond simple commands. Eventually, she earned her place at a marine park known for its performances. There were many dolphins there, each trained, each skilled, but one stood apart. Her name was Belio. From the very beginning, something about their connection felt unusual. Most dolphins took time to warm up to new trainers. They tested boundaries, kept their distance. But Belio didn't. The first time Jessica approached her, there was no hesitation, no fear, just recognition. It was as if they already knew each other. Trainers began to notice how quickly they synced. Small gestures, subtle movements, Belio responded to Jessica in ways others couldn't replicate. Commands became effortless. Performances became fluid, almost like choreography that required no rehearsal. People started calling Jessica the Whisperer. She never believed it. To her, it wasn't about control or talent. It was trust, pure and simple. Belio wasn't just a performer to her. She was a partner, a friend. Some even said they looked like two halves of the same soul when they performed together. The way Jessica moved, the way Belio followed, it felt less like training and more like conversation. But even the strongest, the auditorium was completely packed that day. Excitement filled the air, louder than usual. Children leaned forward in their seats. Cameras were ready. The lights dimmed slightly, focusing attention toward the entrance. Then the doors opened. Jessica stepped out, dressed in her signature white uniform, her expression calm and confident. She waved to the audience, her smile bright, reassuring. The crowd erupted into applause. Everything felt normal. Perfect, even. She walked to the edge of the pool and raised her hand, a simple signal. A second later, Belio burst from the water. The dolphin soared high into the air, twisting gracefully before crashing back down in a glittering explosion of spray. The audience cheered, louder than before. The performance had begun. At first, it was flawless. Every movement was precise. Every jump, every spin, every interaction between Jessica and Belio felt like a carefully crafted piece of art. The crowd was mesmerized. But then, something shifted. It was subtle at first. Belio's movements became sharper, less fluid. She began diving more aggressively, splashing harder than usual. There was a tension in her rhythm, something that didn't match the routine. The audience didn't notice. They thought it was part of the show. But Jessica noticed. She felt it immediately. The connection that had always been so smooth now felt strained, like a conversation where the other side suddenly stopped listening. Jessica gave a familiar signal, one that always calmed Belio. This time, nothing happened. For a split second, confusion flickered across her face. And then everything went wrong. In a sudden, violent motion, Belio surged out of the water, not in a graceful arc, but in a direct, forceful lunge. Her jaws clamped down on Jessica's arm. The reaction was instant. Gasps turned into screams. Some people froze, unsure if it was real. Others stood up, panic spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Jessica's expression said everything. This was not part of the act. Her smile vanished, replaced by shock and pain. Then, with terrifying strength, Belio pulled her into the water. The pool erupted into chaos, waves crashing, foam rising, lights reflecting off the turbulence. Trainers rushed forward, shouting, throwing ropes, trying to intervene. But Belio wasn't responding. Not to commands. Not to noise. Not to anything. She was acting on something deeper, something uncontrollable. Jessica fought to stay above the surface, her hand breaking through the water for a brief second, reaching out. But just as quickly, she was dragged back down. The audience was in complete panic now. Children cried. Parents covered their eyes. Some people ran for the exits, while others stood frozen, unable to look away. One child's voice rang out through the chaos. Why is the dolphin hurting her? No one answered. No one could. Underwater, Jessica struggled with everything she had. But Belio's grip was relentless. The strength was overwhelming. Her lungs burned. Every second stretched longer than the last. The world above became distant, muffled by the water closing in around her. Above the surface, trainers jumped into the pool, risking their own safety. They tried to distract Belio, to push her back, but she resisted, stronger than anyone expected. Then, suddenly, the water calmed. Belio rose to the surface. This time, she wasn't thrashing. She was still. Jessica's body was with her, motionless. Blood stained the water, spreading in soft, dark clouds. For a moment, everything seemed to stop. Then, in a movement no one expected, Belio gently nudged Jessica toward the edge of the pool. Trainers rushed forward, pulling her out, calling for medical help. CPR began immediately as the crowd watched in stunned silence. All the noise from before, the screaming, the chaos, faded into a heavy, suffocating quiet. Belio remained in the water, still, watching. There was something in her eyes now, something that didn't match what had just happened. It wasn't rage anymore. It looked like sorrow. Jessica gasped weakly. Her voice was barely audible, but those closest heard her final words. Belio isn't to blame. She was scared, and then nothing. Her body went still. The life faded from her eyes. Jessica was gone. At that exact moment, a sharp, haunting sound echoed through the arena. Belio cried out. It wasn't the playful sound the audience once loved. This was different. It was raw, painful, almost human. She moved frantically through the water, as if searching, as if calling for someone who would never answer again. Then she disappeared into the far end of the pool, and didn't come back. In the days that followed, the footage spread across the world. People argued. Some called Belio dangerous. Others questioned the entire system, why wild animals were placed in controlled environments for entertainment. Experts later revealed something that changed how many saw the incident. Belio had a past. Her mother had been taken from the wild and killed when Belio was still young. The trauma, they said, never truly left her. It stayed buried, hidden beneath years of training, until something triggered it. Months later, the marine park shut down permanently. A memorial was built for Jessica. It carried a simple message: love between humans and animals is real. But fear can break even the strongest bond. As for Belio, no one knows what truly happened. Some say she was quietly released back into the ocean. Others believe she didn't survive long after. The truth was never confirmed. But the story remained. A story of trust, of connection.